All right, so one of the other issues we want to tackle on this to get running a little bit better and get it ready for the street is deal with the carburetor. The person that I bought this car from said this car had been sitting in the barn for a while, and to get it running, he was dumping a good amount of seafoam down the carburetor. And this car doesn't idle very well, doesn't run cold very well. I noticed, again, the choke is not connected, and it doesn't open all the way. I don't want to mess with the throttle right now. I don't want dump gas in it. But when you do that, it still doesn't open all the way. So that might be one of our issues here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to swap this carb out with one that came from the 64 Impala over there. The Impala, after I restored it, it's a 283 in there. Car originally had a 2-barrel carb on it. I swapped it out to a date correct 4-barrel intake with a Rochester 4-barrel on it. That leaves me a good, formerly rebuilt 2-barrel Rochester. So we're going to see if this here is going to bolt up on there. It's been sitting in my cabinet for about the last 4 to 5 years. But it's been in a dry space, out of the dust and dirt. So I'm going to hope that this carb's going to be good. It looks like our fuel inlet is at the same location. Got our vacuum port for our distributor, so that's fine. Bolting it up should be fine. Let's look at our linkage and see how different it is. Oh, not a problem at all, I don't believe. We'll just have to swap this over into this hole. So let's go ahead and get the swapping this out. All right, one of the first things I got to do with the replacement carburetor, I'm going to need to take this off and block this. This was the vacuum port, I believe, for the Powerglide Trans in the Impala. This one is getting its vacuum from the back of the intake, so we won't need this port. So we just got to take it off and block it off. And just drop my Allen wrench. Of course, this doesn't need to be super tight. This fill line loose, and then we'll get this carb unbolted. Gotta undo that linkage too. I think someone has done a good job of rounding that off. That's what happens when you don't use the right tools, folks. You pass your problem on to the next person. Alright, so our next task, let's get this carb unbolted from the intake. Before I do that, I think I'm going to do this throttle linkage over here. Okay, that's what that looks like for the throttle. We'll put that on the new carb. We're going to have to do the same for the trans knockdown as well. Oh, and of course the hole isn't large enough. Alright, so we ran into one problem already. This hole isn't large enough, so we're going to have to ream that out. It's on the bottom, which is where our trans linkage is going to go. I'm going to go ahead and get this carburetor removed from the intake. Just noticed I got a vacuum plug here. And looks like I gained another bit. Okay. Let's recover that washer so it doesn't fall down on the intake. And we might be able to reuse that gasket. We'll have to see. It doesn't look too bad down in there. Alright, this really isn't pretty. but we're hopefully going to be able to reuse it. Went and just used the step bit and made this hole a little larger so that way we could get that on there. Now we can mount this in place. I'm gonna put our trans knockdown linkage in here then as well. Get that out of the way. Let's try the hardest nut to get started first, all the way up here in this corner. That spot right down in here, and you probably can't see with the lighting the way that it is. But it's real tricky to get into that. Luckily that stud is nice and clean, so this is turning down by hand pretty well. Because it is tough getting your wrench in that space. This is all you can do, and you can turn it just barely. But I'm not going to wrench that one down tight just yet. I got to get all the other ones started first. Alright, last one I got to put in is, you can see the whole stud came out, which tends to happen with these. It's not a big deal. Just put it back in, tighten it down. Alright, the carb bolted down. Let's swap out our filter. Feel the pressure, the spring is right there. But you can see which way your filter is supposed to go in if you're not familiar with these. All right, I don't like the way that's fitting. Ah, I see why. These are different. How long the threads are on that one compared to this one. So they are not the same. So what I'm going to end up having to do is pull this out, this elbow, and thread that in. So I need to go over to the vise and do some alterations here. Pull that out. I'm hoping that... Okay, this is a problem. Fits that just fine. Something tells me I might be making an alteration to this line. Now, I think before I try to bend the end of this line, I might just see if we can do a twist. Just hope it doesn't snap, because it looks awful weak. I wonder if that's going to hit the air cleaner if I do it that way, though. Yeah, if I come straight in, I think it's going to hit that air cleaner base. There. I just don't think there's going to be enough room. Well, that was a bit hokey, but I think we're going to get it. I hope after all this is going to work. Of course, I got to find a rod from come up here to our choke. Guess I can make something if I really have to, but I got stuff laying around. I'm sure I got a rod that'll work. Fuel line is connected. Carb is bolted down. I think we're ready to do a test fire. Like a brand new car. Why these little choke. right now. Car works good. Once I get it warm, I can adjust the idle. I call that a win. Let's get this throttle adjusted right and find a rod for the choke. Going through my parts bins, and I'm pretty certain this is the right size rod. Slides right on in. There we go. That should be right. Oh, we should have a working choke now. Guess the last thing we'll do is make sure the air cleaner still fits. Let's go ahead and give it one more test fire. Working choke. Let's check the exhaust, because before it was smoking pretty bad. Huh, look at that. Could have been that carb the whole time. Wow. Boy, that sound is awful weak. We really need to do something with the exhaust. Matter of fact, sounds like we're leaking. All the more reason to get that out of there and put a flow master on it. See what I think I might do, because it really bothers me, is this being pushed in. I might see if I can push that out. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this Pontiac emblem off before we take a chance of breaking it. So that's just a few nuts that are on the inside here that are holding that on. We're going to hope that these nuts will turn off of here and that this won't break. A lot of times these are pretty fragile. They're just pot metal. Alright, came off in one piece. Good deal. And I think I'm going to get a small block of wood and the hydraulic ram, and we're going to see what we can do here. Alright, so we're going to get a ram here in place. We'll be using the scissors, and I'm going to be actually be putting it between the locking point for the trunk and this rear panel. I'm going to put a board in behind here, so that way hopefully I can get an even push coming out of this. Okay, here we go. Well, we'll see if this will fit in here. Okay, here we go. Now it's not perfect, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was. But I think I'm going to go ahead and put this back together now. Actually, before I put this emblem on, that's a little bent. One, I'm going to have to straighten it slightly, but I think I'm going to clean the surface of it up a little bit too. Let's just do a test fit. Actually, I guess I could clean it in place, couldn't I? That's going to do for this video. Got plenty more work to do on this Pontiac in the future. We've got exhaust I want to do, probably headers, dual exhaust. Got front suspension repairs that need to be done. Got some worn out bushings, so if you want to see how that's done, make sure you tune in. Want to change the mirrors. I'm not too happy with those. I got some other ones that I swap meets we're going to put on. Do some general cleaning and hopefully get this thing out on the road. So if you want to see all those things, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell so that way you'll know as soon as a new video is posted. And as always, thanks for watching.